With a strained India-Maldives bilateral relationship, what is gaining is going to be towards China, and India is losing a lot because the Chinese influence is continuously growing in the Indian Ocean region. The latest is that another Chinese vehicle, the 4,300-ton Xiang Yang Hong 03, is now reaching towards Maldivian waters. The research vessel, which is of Chinese Institute of Oceanography, is apparently trying to collect some weather and oceanographic data, but the concern is that the same vehicle may also be mapping the floor of Indian Ocean region, and that could be a concern because this data or this assessment of the floor of the Indian Ocean would allow more access and more possibility in future if the Chinese submarines have to come and map and to move around this region. That region, this Indian Ocean region, has not been allowed for the Chinese vessel for a very long time, and that kinds of allow a relaxed attitude of Indian security apparatus in Indian Ocean region. But with the Maldivian government having been changed in the last 3-4 years, its entire foreign policy, which has shown a very open biases towards China, looks like giving a lot of trouble to the Indian government. We have seen Chinese side has reassured Maldives of taking care of its lot of economic interests. We saw President Muizu's visit to China, 5 days official visit, and he's meeting hundreds of Chinese businesses, addressing them, meeting Chinese leadership also, and about 20 odd MOU which assures Chinese investment and Chinese cooperation in all areas, from tourism to fisheries to food processing to connectivity projects to other areas of economic development also. That quid pro quo is coming from Maldivian side, which is now kind of taking the strategic interests of China into consideration, because more Chinese influence growing in the Indian Ocean region will allow China to monitor the entire region, the maritime trade route, the military surveillance. We have seen such instances happening in the past also, when Chinese ships, multiple Chinese ships, try to dock in the Sri Lankan water, and India's direct and open concern regarding that was conveyed to the Sri Lankan authorities. Now it looks like Sri Lankan government has accepted the fact, and they have stopped allowing more such vessels to be docked in and around Sri Lankan water. Now Maldivian side, which has now clearly showing its tilt and biases towards Chinese government and Chinese interests, is allowing more Chinese vessels. That has become a growing concern for the Indian government, because such vessels has the capability, if such vessels are snooping around India's missile program, in India's satellite programs, that could be a concern for Indian government. And also with a kind of geopolitical shift where the maritime sea routes have become a cause of concern, the growing Chinese influence in the Indian Ocean region may become a cause of concern for India, because the list, which has been mostly a safe maritime routes, may become a controversial and more contested routes because of the China's growing presence. We have already having such concerns in the Indo-Pacific region, where the South China Sea problem and the influence of China, the dominance of China, is creating trouble for a lot of countries around the region, those who are aligned with the Pacific coast. Such conditions should not occur in future, and that is what India's concern is regarding this Indian Ocean region. And with a growing influence of China, economic influence of China on Maldives, will the strategic interests of China be given more access, and they will be given more edge by the Maldivian government? That remains to be seen, and if it is so, then it will be a concern for the Indian government. We have already seen India-Maldives having multiple negotiations where Maldives has asked Indian government to withdraw about 80 troops. India has said that about these 80 troops will be replaced by technical people who will have the expertise and who will be able to handle these aviation platforms that India had given to Maldives. May is the time by which these troops will be withdrawn, and the technical team from India will take over those aviation platforms. But having said that, the concern that Maldives expressed, that Indian troops' presence in Maldives is kind of a challenge for the Maldivian security, that is something has not gone down well with the Indian government, but with the political setup that is working right now in Maldives, that is under President Muizu, which also had a very anti-India view during past, and his entire political campaign was based on India out movement, is a lot of concern for the Indian government, because if Chinese influence continues to grow, both in terms of economic, strategic and defense ties with Maldives, that will challenge India's not only economic interests but strategic interests also in the Indian Ocean region.